Today we're talking once again about our big fat mouths and how they can get us into trouble. And I'm joined in the studio once again by three
very small-mouthed kind people.
Yes, and today's topic is complaining. So raise your hand if you are a complainer, if you have a little complaining in you.
That's me.
Okay, I think all of us do. So here's the first thing really that I think we need to wrestle with. The first point for today is that complaining puts your focus in the wrong place. And I think a good example of this is the story in the wilderness. You know, Moses and the Israelites in Exodus. Walk us through the story.
Okay, well, so we know that it starts with they're in slavery in Egypt.
Complaining.
Yeah. Well, right, who wouldn't be complaining
obviously.
about that, right? But then God does some amazing things and Moses leads them out. And so now they're free in the wilderness. And God's like raining food down from the sky every day.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, I'm kind of sick eating this bread every day, God. Like, where's In-N-Out or some Chick-fil-A? Like, let's mix it up.
Yeah.
So they were complaining while they were in Egypt in slavery, and now they're complaining free. They're just always complaining.
Yeah. Being provided with miraculous meals.
Right.
They're complaining about it.
Which I think is relatable. I mean, we all have experienced the grass is greener on the other side scenario where we want something, we get it, and then we want something more, bigger, or whatever.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
And the point really is what it's doing then, and I think we can all, again, relate to this, is it's putting our focus instead of on God and the good things He's doing, and like He delivers us, and you know He parts the Red Sea, and it's putting the focus squarely back on us. It's taking it off of the creator of the universe and this God who can do anything He wants to do, and it puts it on our small, stupid little problems.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a couple of really practical points here. And the first one is this: if you can do something about your situation, stop complaining about it and just do it, right? So anyone have an example of that kind of a situation?
Yeah, I know for me, I have a lot of roommates. And as you can imagine, a lot of people create a lot of dishes. And a lot of times I'll come into the kitchen and there's just dishes everywhere. And I could so easily move the 2 feet from the sink to the dishwasher, but instead I look at it and then go complain about it.
Mm-hmm. And so some things are just in our control. If you're watching this at home or with a small group, maybe you can make a list of things that are in control, that are in your circle of control. And those are things you don't have to over spiritualize. Just quit your griping, quit your complaining, and do something about it. Just Matt or Kaylee, just do the dishes, okay? But there are things sometimes that are out of our control. I think this is probably even more important. And so if it's something that's out of your control, if you're out of options, then stop complaining. And in that case, you might have to change your perspective. So I'm going to explain that scenario.
I think I experience that a lot. Probably a large majority of my complaining is about just like my bodily, like my back hurts, or I'm hungry, or I'm cold. And a lot of the time I just can't change that. Like, you know, my back is injured and it's going to take a while to heal. And it's like there's no point in complaining about that all day.
So it's better just to change your focus.
Yeah, change my perspective and realize like, okay, I'm blessed to be here at a job working, you know, even if my back hurts. Like some people don't have this opportunity.
Well, yeah, and our daughter is getting ready to go to college and she's an introvert and she's been focusing a lot of her attention on how am I going to get time to myself? I'm living in this small room, in this small space, and just kind of focused on the things that are just, this is college, this is what it is. And so we've just been encouraging her to think about it a different way, like change your perspective, change your attitude, and look at this as an opportunity, and to recognize you're gonna have to make adjustments. It doesn't always go the way we want it to go. So if you just focus on all the stuff that you don't like about a situation, it just changes your whole attitude. You're just complaining, you're negative, and you're no fun to be around.
Yeah. The Apostle Paul is a great example of this. In Philippians 2, he says this: "But I will rejoice even if I lose my life, pouring it out like a liquid offering to God." And so what Paul's talking about there, he's writing to the church at Philippi, and he's saying, hey, I recognize I'm probably going to die for my faith. And he ended up doing that. He ended up dying for his faith. You know, he was beaten, he was shipwrecked, he went through all these different things as a follower of Jesus, and yet in none of his writings does he complain about it. Every time we study this in the Word, his perspective is just always focusing on God. The opposite of what the Israelites were doing. They're focusing on their situation and therefore complaining, but the Apostle Paul focused on the bigger picture and was able to, because he changed his perspective, he was really able to be thankful. And that's really what that last point is, that if we choose thankfulness, then we're proving to the people around us that God is worth following.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of it is you do want to make Christ attractive to people, and that walk with him, that life that you have that's supposed to be better because you follow Christ, isn't going to seem that way to someone if you're just complaining about it. And I think a really good example of this was my mom. My mom, when I was in high school, she battled cancer for 3 years. She ended up passing away, but in those 3 years, I think I heard her complain maybe 3 times.
Wow.
She would always say to us, what's the point in wasting the time I have left to complain? That's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to take away the illness. It's not going to make it any easier. It's just going to make people look at that and think, oh, well, why would you waste your time doing that, you know?
And by the way, because of your mom and her attitude, drew many people to Jesus.
Absolutely.
She
It's
was
just
a
such an,
wonderful.
just stories like that are just such an awesome testament to the power that Christ has to change your perspective on life, because that's really the only way that you can do that. That's the only way you can change that perspective is through Christ.